I was held hostage by over 200 protesters at the university, including Antifa, which is very prominent in Seattle. I'm sure you know. They're very violent. As soon as we started letting people into the event, immediately fire alarms were pulled. They're banging on the door. We were finally able to get into the room. We have a couple people in here with us, and they just keep banging on the doors. It's really annoying.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. My name is Justus Smith with Proverbs Media Group, and we're coming to you live from CPAC 2025, the third day in Washington, D.C., and I have a very special guest that I'd like to introduce to you all. Would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Olivia Krolczyk. I'm an ambassador of the Riley Gaines Center and a speaker for some Turning Point events.
Excellent. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's start off with something lighthearted, something real easy. Let's talk about the time you were held hostage.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty easy. Yeah, that happened a couple of weeks ago. Still trying to figure out why the heck that happened to me, of all people. But yeah, I was giving a speech at University of Washington for Turning Point on behalf of the Riley Gaines Center. And my speech is about free speech, ironically, and I didn't get to give said speech because I was held hostage by over 200 protesters at the university, including Antifa, which is very prominent in Seattle. I'm sure you know. They're very violent. As soon as we started letting people into the event, immediately fire alarms were pulled, which means the doors had to be shut. We were told to leave. However, we couldn't leave because the protesters blocked every single entrance and exit to the building and the classroom where the event was held. They're banging on the door. We were finally able to get into the room. We have a couple people in here with us, and they just keep banging on the doors. It's really annoying. Yelling.
You don't see the hold up, sir?
Got the alarms off. Of course, it's Seattle, so the police officers were held hostage with me. I looked to my left and right, and I asked the police officers, are we going to do anything about this? They're like, oh, we're outnumbered. Eventually, they had to dress me in police gear and form a diamond around me to escort me out of the building. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How long did this whole debacle take?
Oh, goodness. It felt like it went by very quickly, probably an hour. Yeah, it was insane. And then I got to the police station, filed a police report, of course. And then at that point, I wanted to go back to my hotel room, get my stuff. They told me it was too unsafe to go to my hotel room. So they sent someone to get my stuff out of my hotel room and escorted me to the airport.
Wow. I mean, that's absolutely unreal. What were you thinking in the moment when it happened? When you're in there, you can't leave, the police are with you. What's going through your head?
Honestly, I was mostly worried about the safety of the Turning Point students, of course. I knew I'd be okay. God called me to do this for a reason. Of course, he's going to protect me doing what I do. But I was also a little bit relieved because it's moments like that when you have the left against you where you know you're doing everything right. If they come and attack you and they want to hold you hostage so badly just because you're saying the truth, you know you're doing the right thing.
Wow, I guess that's a new metric of success that I should be shooting for. If I haven't been held hostage by some Antifa people yet, I clearly haven't said enough.
We can go to Washington together. I'm definitely going back 100% with Riley.
Let's make it happen. I'm ready to. I'll drop some hot takes. We'll talk about how they're turning the frogs gay.
Do you understand that?
We'll talk about it all.
Hey, they dress as frogs there too, so.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to know a little bit more about you as a person.
Yeah.
What are you all about? What gets you going? What are you passionate about?
Oh my gosh, so much. Well, what originally threw me into politics to begin with was I was a student at University of Cincinnati, and I was failed for writing Biological Woman while writing about men and women's sports. So I've always been passionate about sports. I was an athlete for 10 plus years, cross country, track, taekwondo, all that.
What?
I ran 18 miles this morning actually in honor of Laken Riley. She was killed by an illegal alien at her campus in Georgia. So it's a year ago today she was killed. So I ran 18 miles in honor of the 18 minutes that she fought for her life. So I'm very passionate about sports, women's sports specifically, DEI. But I also love traditionalism. I think that's important in the conservative world. I think that's actually what we're lacking most, faith and traditionalism in our society. So I try to, follow those values and, teach them to people who follow me.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm looking to become more healthy. I need to cut some weight. I can run about 4 miles before I die. How long does it take you to run 18 miles?
I think it took me like 2 hours-ish today.
2 hours, so
a little over 2.
9
I think it was
miles
like
in
a
an hour.
7. It was like 7:25 pace, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're fast.
I don't know
You
about
really
that.
do this. Oh my gosh, that's impressive.
Thank you.
Wow, so I'm curious, what kind of music do you listen to?
Oh goodness, I like country. But I also
Country.
like, do you know Elevation Worship? Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They're very good. A lot of Christian music, but mainly country and Nickelback.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a hot take right there.
Yeah.
That's okay.
How You Remind Me is one of my favorite songs.
Wow,
Yeah, I know.
our boy
It's
Greg
my
right there
karaoke
loves
song.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you sing it better than them.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What do you think of Kanye West?
I just told you.
I have words. I don't think he's a good influence for starters. Good music, sure. I don't listen to it, but my brothers like it. I definitely think we need to start paying attention to our music that we listen to, even at some Turning Point events. I don't mean to like give some crap to Turning Point, but like, for example, the YWLS, which is like the Young Women's Leadership Summit, they're playing Taylor Swift, Shania Twain. Those are not people who follow our same values. So I think music is actually really important. We need to start paying attention to the artists that we listen to and promote, especially at conservative events.
Yeah, when I was at the Starlight Ball for the inauguration, Trump's there having dinner. He has all of his cabinet with him.
Yeah.
And they have this live orchestra playing Taylor Swift, a rendition of one of her songs, The Love Story. And I wondered, are they doing this as like a gotcha to Taylor Swift, like we won, even if you don't like us, we just took your song? Or was it just bad taste, or was the orchestra trolling? I couldn't figure it out.
Who knows at this point? I just don't like Taylor Swift as a whole. I think she's dumbing down our society.
All night, your hands up.
Maybe that's a controversial opinion, but oh well.
That's fair. What do you think about this rise of brain rot? This kind of stuff that's
tracking.
on social media, the Ohio, Grimace, Gyat Riz, and all this stuff. Do you think that this is playing a role in deteriorating the interests of kids, making them, have shorter attention spans, more degenerate interests? What do you think the impact of social media is having on these kids' minds?
Oh my gosh, I think social media is the reason that we're seeing an uptick in transgenderism, for starters. But the reason we got to that point, actually, this is my little conspiracy theory, COVID. I think COVID is what started all of this. Students were at home, or kids were at home doing online school, meaning they weren't actually learning anything, and the parents certainly didn't know what they were being taught. They were on social media, on TikTok specifically. I think that, obviously conservatives are very censored on TikTok, so liberal agenda was being pushed onto these kids. At young ages too, like 12-year-olds are using it. I've been banned 7 times on TikTok, so I know that I'm not getting my views out there on that app. But I think, COVID, that whole era kind of, made kids, turn into liberals, unfortunately. Social media is awful. I've been censored on Instagram, on X once too, which I'm going to take that as a badge of honor. But yeah, I think social media plays a really important role. And that's why we need more conservatives to actually post and get on those platforms where we are being censored. Like TikTok, I'm on my 8th account now. And I'm going to keep making fake emails for more accounts because it's important to get my voice out there, even if it's just faced with thousands of people mass reporting all my posts, because I can reach one mind and then I win.
That's right. Have you ever seen V for Vendetta?
I have not.
There's a scene where this guy, who's like a political revolutionary, takes over the broadcast stream of all of British television.
Good evening, London.
If you had the opportunity to take over the broadcasting of the entire world, what message would you want to send?
That's a good one. I would tell everyone that free speech is the foundation of our country. If we can't have debate and civil conversation on our college campuses specifically, then we have undermined the integrity of education as a whole. So I think I would tell everyone that free speech is important. Whether or not you agree with someone's opinion, they have a right to say what they want to say.
Absolutely. A little bit earlier, you mentioned conspiracy theories.
No.
Do you have a favorite one?
That's a good question. I don't pay attention that much to conspiracy theories, so I don't know. Do you have a favorite one?
Oh, I have too many.
Oh, let me hear one.
First off, have to preface this, that the word conspiracy has this messed up stigma to it now, where if someone says it's a conspiracy, they immediately stigmatize it as something that's disingenuous. The word conspiracy means a plot in secret to commit a crime. The word theory has also been undermined, especially when put next to conspiracy. Because in science, if you have an idea, a hunch, you suspect that something's going on, you have a hypothesis, and you test that hypothesis rigidly, vigorously through the scientific method. You try to disprove your hypothesis over and over and over, and if you can't disprove your hypothesis, you then have a theory. So the word theory actually holds a lot of weight. So if you have a conspiracy theory in the truest sense of the word, that's actually quite an honor. That sounds quite legitimate if the word was used correctly and not in the context of the Warren Report. So when it comes to conspiracy theories, I mean, where do I start? They're putting birth control in our water. They're putting atrazine in our water. They're turning the frogs gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
They're putting weird stuff in the air. They're censoring our speech. A bunch of people that spoke out against the Clintons and worked closely with them that got killed. I think 53
these are just
of them.
facts.
Yeah. How did 53 people shoot themselves in the back of the head with their own gun? This is bizarre stuff.
It is.
Yeah, it's a spooky world we live in. And I love the idea of secret societies and how they might play a role in the power hierarchy on this planet. What do you think about secret societies?
I guess I don't know that much, but do you have your own secret society?
You want to join?
Maybe.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, when you look at things like the Illuminati and the Freemasons, a lot of people think that there's these shadowy organizations that are governing through politics, through big pharma, through medicine, through technology, through media. And it's very interesting how that might actually be legitimate, or how it might just be people trying to make sense of the fact that they feel that they've lost power. Mm-hmm. How do you think is the easiest way that people can regain power once they feel disenfranchised to this great political arena and circus?
Oh goodness, regaining power. It's easy. Don't get canceled, or just don't let people cancel you. So for example, with me, when I was failed at my university, of course, I lost all of my friends and family. I lost family members too. All these people turned against me, so I essentially felt like I lost power to be able to speak my mind, to be able to speak up for women's sports, stuff like that. And then I just decided I'm not going to get canceled. So then I continued to talk about it. So I guess just keep doing what you're doing, regardless of what everyone else thinks. That's the easiest way to continue to gain your momentum, to keep your power, even if it's just your own power. I know that sounds so liberal of me, to keep your own power, to be able to say what you want. In the political world, I don't know. Just have Elon's baby, maybe. I don't know.
Absolutely. I want to talk about modern liberalism. I have a lot of friends that are still libbed out. They have no knowledge of politics, and yet they feel so strongly against Donald Trump. And I think that they've been brainwashed. I think they've been mind controlled, and I'll accept this too. I've been brainwashed. I think everyone's brainwashed to a degree. It's just that I know what all of the different brainwashing mechanisms are, and I've chosen this one.
Okay.
So when it comes to modern liberalism, which is cultural Marxism, classical liberalism from the Enlightenment period was all about freedom of speech. It was all about right to bear arms, freedom of religion, freedom of press, and it's been hijacked by these weird globalist progressives that want to turn our kids into weird mutants. What do you have to say about all of this?
Maybe this is a conspiracy theory of mine. I think that it's all because of the medical scandal that we're seeing in this country. They want to turn our children into liberals because they want them to become transgender, because it's the greatest medical scandal we've ever seen in our entire country. These people are money hungry. Also, even with our food, what RFK is doing is extremely important.
Sugar is poison, and Americans need to know that.
Because these people want to keep us sick. Because money, we go to the doctor, they get money. So I think, it's a whole medical scandal. It's all about money. I think the whole leftist scheme is. Maybe that's only me thinking that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of avenues we can look at it to see why they want us to be liberals. But also, there are very few people who just want control of the entire country. So yeah, it's really sad, actually.
Yeah, 50 years ago, 1 in 50,000 people had autism. Today it's 1 in 33. Mm-hmm. You look at that same ratio growing at such an exponential rate in just the last 50 years when it comes to heart disease, when it comes to chronic illnesses. I think that's bizarre, and there's no way this is naturally progressing. They're putting weird stuff in our food.
Vaccines.
How do you think that all started?
Vaccines.
Yeah, what's up with the vaccine?
I know. I definitely want to do a lot of research on vaccines before I even consider giving them to any of my kids. I'm not, I don't have the COVID vaccine. Heck no.
Good.
Right? But of course, they tried to force college kids to get it. They kicked people out of their jobs if they didn't get it. They kicked people out of the military if they didn't get it, and instead hired transgender people to rule the military, which makes no sense. We have weak people in power in the military now. Well, it'll change soon. But yeah, I think, it's horrible.
Absolutely. I'm very curious. You have a lot of good ideas. What's your most controversial opinion?
My most controversial opinion? Well, according to TikTok, keeping men out of women's sports. I didn't think it was controversial. Yeah, but I would say that's it.
You know, if LeBron James put a wig on and went and played at the WNBA, we'd see the first game where they're up by like 500 points. It's not fair.
Most people don't watch it anyway, so I don't know if they'd... I'm kidding.
Mawadi Mabika of the Sparks misses a free throw. It's rebounded by Lauren Jackson of the Storm, who puts it up and scores for the other team.
But, yeah, no.
Yeah, I do think that's an important thing. There are so many women that fight their entire career to be excellent. And then you have some 6'5" guy like me showing up in a wig and stuff, and it's like, brother, what's going on here?
Right.
You know, who is the guy that, you know, drove all that attention?
Bill Thomas.
Yeah.
So Bill Thomas was a UPenn swimmer, and he's 6'4", fully intact male. Showed up to the NCAA swim and dive the women's swim and dive championships, and actually my friend Riley Gaines is the one who originally spoke up about this issue. There's a picture of her on the podium, standing next to him, looking up, what the heck. He was in the locker room with these girls, and if you know anything about swimming, well, you're essentially stripping down completely and then getting into a bathing suit. So it's not a place of modesty. And he walks into the locker room. He's swimming in the pool next to them, next to girls who are 5'10", being tall, and then he's 6'4", standing next to them. He's not even that good. Actually, he's not good at all, but he's the best woman swimmer.
Wow, that is really something. I want to try this game. I do this with a lot of my guests. It's called Describe Them in One Word. I'm going to throw a name out, and you just throw the first word that comes to mind.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Donald Trump.
Legend.
Absolutely. Vladimir Putin.
I don't know. No words.
Elon Musk.
See, I got some words. This is hard. I don't like this game. I'm not good at this stuff.
Uh-oh.
I'm not quick on my feet.
Okay. No worries. We can try something else. Trainer.
I can explain that, though. Can I
Please.
explain
Yeah.
that? Okay. So conservatives are supposed to, have conservative values, right? But I got worried about this whole, pregnancy thing that we've been seeing. He's not really following the values that he's supposed to be pushing, and I think that's really a shame for conservatives as a whole. It doesn't make us look good. How many babies does he have now? 13? That's crazy. Have 13 with the same woman that you married to, not 13 different people. Yeah. I think it's sad.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. It's an unfortunate thing when someone's time is split so thin that it's difficult to spend time with each kid.
Yeah.
And I think Elon has good intentions. He's not taking money from our government. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could be duped. I could be brainwashed like we were talking about earlier, but we'll find out.
That's the liberals.
That's right. Oh, yeah. I think they're a little more brainwashed than us.
100%.
Absolutely. It has been very illuminating talking with you today.
Thank you.
I hope we get to do this again.
Yeah, of course.
And, you mentioned earlier that you had to lose friends when you went through that college. I don't know if I should call it a scandal. I'll call it an incident.
Okay.
Actually, an incident of you doing the right thing and being persecuted. An instance of persecution. Mm-hmm. When one door closes, another opens. And here
Absolutely.
at Proverbs Media Group, we are your friends.
Thank you.
So
I
don't
appreciate
worry about
it.
those
Yeah,
people.
I think God takes some people out of your life to make room for the right ones. So it's definitely happened to me. So appreciate you.
Let's take on these deep state globalist, Marxist, scumbag, blood-sucking dregs. Cheers.
Cheers.